So let's take a look at harvest flows 1 and 2 here in lesson 8.4. And as I talked about earlier, these are two of the more basic harvest scenarios. You're going to see a lot of these, and they're very, very easy to set up for. So here's a very basic example how harvest 1 looks. Instead of using our big bin here for water and picking hulls, we're simply harvesting our crop right into that bin, and then we'll package it right away. It's actually really difficult to cut and go right into the package in some situations, so that's going to vary between crops. Here we've got somebody packing off screen and the scale there as well. So this allows us to pack very, very quickly with very few steps in between. In this case, it's a buckwheat crop that's probably going to somebody who's just using it for juicing, so there's no worry about the hulls. So that makes it a lot easier. It's the hulls that can make things a challenge and where we start to get into the more advanced methods. Here we're looking at harvest flow 2, where you've got one person cutting and quickly into a drainage bin, and then when this is full, it's going into the spinner. So this here is a pea crop, and likely what's happened is that the pea is wet. Maybe there's some humidity or moisture in the greenhouse, or the pea crop was watered overhead right before harvest, so it just needs to be spun quickly in order to dry it off and go into packaging. We really don't want anything too wet going into packaging because that really shortens its life and really greatly increases condensation. So here you can just see we've got our cutting system, we've got a bin to cut into, and then it's going right into the spinner, and then off screen to the left towards us is going to be where the packing takes place, or where this would go into a bulk bin into the fridge and can get packed a little bit later. So a few options there in a process like this. So here we'll take a look at, I'm doing a harvest on my own here, and this is me doing a radish harvest that is going to do a quick dip into a water bath, then into the drainage bin, and from there it would go into the spinner. This segment doesn't go for that long, but we can kind of get a sense of what that process is going to look like. Advanced a little too quickly there. All right, let's go. Share our volumes down and so here I am using Siggers for this cut. And what's happening, I'm going into the water bath, and then you can see as soon as I'm finished the tray, I'm pulling it out of the water bath. So this is a strategy specifically with radish. It is a crop that holds on to water really, really well. And so I really want to limit how much time that it spends in a water bath. This is a crop that can get cut with either scissors or a knife. And to be honest, I would usually use a knife. I'm not sure why I'm using scissors here, but apparently that's okay. So yeah, going through, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut a spinner's worth here. And so once it's ready, it'll go into the spinner, and that gives me time to get the next round of trays ready, get some of the packaging ready, and get things prepared for the next step. So it's a very, very simple process in that regard. So here we can take a look at a quick image of that setup. We've got our cutting on the left, in the middle our water bath for a quick dip, and then into the drainage bin before going into the spinner. The drainage bin is going to have a different effect on different crops. For pea, which sheds water really quickly, is actually going to shed most of its water as soon as you lift it out of the water bin. Whereas radish is going to continue to drain once you put it in the spin quite a lot. And we'll actually spend multiple rounds in the spinner to get it as dry as possible. So you can see, though, this is a very, very simple setup. You really only need one person for this type of harvest, and where you would have the second person is managing the spinner and the packaging afterwards.